This video is by Narc. This guy's so funny. It's called Ashes of Creation's most important reveal is finally coming. Let's see what he has to say.
Hey, what up, boys? So it seems all we've covered this month is a drama, but at last, some relevant content has arrived for me to monetize out the wazoo. Yes, that's right, baseless speculation.
And just so you know, I have turned everything up here, so I'm sorry if he's quiet. It seems like his videos are often kind of quiet.
As we predict what this month's live stream is actually going to be about. However, there's a little more to work with this month compared to most, as the big man himself decided to completely spoil all...
Oh, wait. We will be going over gathering with some updates to the gameplay around logging, mining, and herbalism/farming.
Forms of speculation. So yes, we know exactly what's coming this month, and by God, I'm excited. I've been gaslighting being an artisan main since the very inception of this channel, and for the first time in Ashes of Creation's history, we're finally getting a glance at their long-awaited gathering systems.
Gathering systems? Hold on a second, I'm gonna fix this light. It's washing me out. There. Maybe if it's not pointed directly at my face. It's a little better. A tiny bit better. Let's go.
And I'm excited to set expectations for this today, but before we get into that, our patrons and I would love for you to grab yourself a Coca-Cola, because I don't think Ashes of Creation's gathering mechanics are going to function in ways we are used to in our currently popular MMOs.
Okay.
Steven himself has teased some fairly old school and unique mechanics, and I'm hoping to bring these to light to you today, as well as some exciting teases that borderline a comment made just before that unbelievable weather and a seasonal system update. Now,
okay.
With all that bollocks out of the way, let's begin, shall we?
Let's begin!
Sandbox MMORPGs are not like your traditional theme park ones. Unless you've played the likes of Arcade or Black Desert Online in the recent years, it would be very hard for you to grasp the importance of artisan skills in an open-world MMO like Ashes of Creation. Steven himself has expressed this importance these mechanics have for the economy, the horizontal progression, and the solo or casual player base to engage in to keep them interested long-term.
Yeah.
I myself have also expressed this, as I do consider my main MMORPG to be Black Desert Online, where I do indeed have about 10,000 hours sunk into artisan-related gameplay.
Wow.
Well, yes,
That is a lot of hours, my dude. That is a lot of hours. I mean, you're talking to a mining pro in Final Fantasy XIV. But yeah, that's a lot of hours. Wow.
I love my life, and I have absolutely zero regrets. Now, before I officially begin today's video, it's important to point out to the smooth brains who I seem to have acquired from Asmon that the footage in the background is pre-Alpha 1 and Alpha 1 footage. Therefore, this also means it is pre-Unreal Engine 5. The reason I'm using this today is because it's probably the last time we're going to see this before it officially becomes outdated. So, for nostalgic reasons, yes, nostalgia now means less than 2 years ago in this barren wasteland of MMOs. I thought I'd utilize that old footage to
Okay, let me just re-emphasize what he just said, especially since he's a little quiet. Maybe you didn't hear it. This is pre-Alpha 1 and Alpha 1 footage. So this is before Ashes of Creation moved over to Unreal Engine 5, where it now looks glorious and amazing and bloomy and super cool effects and super clean and beautiful and magnificent, wonderful. Anyway. Yeah. So if it looks a little poopy, that's because it did at that time, but it looks way better now. Keep that in mind.
Refresh our minds going into this month's live stream. Speaking of nostalgia, do you guys remember a time many years ago, a time before the likes of the Twitter and Snowflake Society began taking over our creative escapes. MMORPGs,
Yes.
TV shows, movies, and comic books used to be about escapism from society.
Right, right.
Where we could appreciate a well-made story, epic characters, and immerse ourselves.
I don't like high school or college. I don't like my homework. I don't like my side job at Dutch Bros. I must throw myself into another world. It was our safe place. Our safe space, if you will. And now, those safe spaces have been ruined.
In universes devoid
I think that's
of
what he's
that
getting at.
modern day agenda. Well, with the help of today's sponsor, there is still a glimmer of hope for that existing in the modern age.
Okay, let's hear it.
Year 2533, Gemini system. It has been a few years since the implosion of the Terran Empire.
Oh, wow.
Gunnar, a freelancer and former detective, is roaming the frontiers to make ends meet by offering what he does best: investigating, tracking, and
This is the best sponsorship clip I've ever seen. Oh my gosh, this is entertaining.
recovering. This time, Gunnar ends up on Gemini 2 to hand over one of the Void's many scumbags to the last high-security prison remaining, Hell's Maw. But it turns out, Gunnar is in the wrong place at the wrong time, and a catastrophic event will change everything.
Oh
A
my
man
gosh.
stranded with nowhere to go and only a revolver, a sharp mind, and the confidence to get it all under control again. It's going to be sexy,
Whoa.
badass, and wild. Wild Void.
Order now using the link in the description for a limited time discount and exclusive trading card and 3D bust of Gunnar.
Okay.
Still not sold? Well, your Copium Lord himself is featured in this very universe, and
What?
the stories that unfold will blow your mind.
Nice.
Now, back to the video.
That's got to be the coolest sponsorship for him, too. He got put into an actual, like, comic as a character. That's sick.
As I said earlier, I think Ashes of Creation's approach to gathering isn't going to be what we're used to.
Okay.
Stevens mentioned how different and
And let's hear why.
untraditional the gathering resource mechanics is going to be. I have a plethora of clips to back this up. However, it's this one in particular, all the way back during Alpha 1, that is the most interesting, as he describes it as something very alien
Sorry. I'm so sorry for the yawn.
indeed.
Sparklies that are currently you seeing in Alpha 1, the whole gathering component of Alpha 1 is not the intended gathering for the actual game. You will not be
Okay.
seeing sparklies on resources and out in the world. That's just a kind of gap measure right now so that we can indicate to players, because we haven't had time to implement the actual UI and the
Okay.
actual gathering systems in place.
And that all sounds exciting, paving the way for something that I think will be very old school in nature, learning from an MMORPG that a lot of the boomers in the audience hold close to their heart. We'll be elaborating on a mechanic known as surveying in the next segment, but before we jump
Surveying.
into that, I do want
Okay.
to emphasize how important gathering and artisan systems are in a sand park MMORPG. When approaching
Tell us, Narc. Please, tell us. Tell us the importance. We're waiting. We're waiting on bated breath.
Ashes of Creation's design, thinking about it in a way like New World, World of Warcraft, or Guild Wars 2 is completely selling the game short, and you'll just end up confusing yourself with the game's overall design. A lot
Okay.
of viewers who are used to games like BDO, Arcade, Star Wars, Galaxies, even Lineage 2 know full well what this means. However, for the rest of you theme park enjoyers, try to disconnect yourself from the linear
Hey, I like theme parks, okay? Come on now. Nothing wrong with that. Is anybody else out there a theme park enjoyer of the MMO industry?
mechanics available
Can't be
to
the only
your
one.
theme park MMOs. Economy, risk versus reward, and trading is an incredibly important part of this MMO, and by ignoring this side of the game to focus on just
I wouldn't say that I'm totally a theme park enjoyer. I like some of that other stuff. I like getting off the track and just grinding.
combat or just PvP, you're severely limiting your progress and potential. For Sandpark MMOs, economy is the most important part, and the artisan side of the game is where the economy thrives. So, let's actually begin talking about whatever the fuck I put in the title.
Be part of our international environment, a unique culture that
These
emerges
ads, man.
every day.
What to expect?
So I simply cannot talk about Gathering in Ashes of Creation without mentioning everyone's favorite brainlet simulator.
Okay.
New World has, admittedly, a very mechanically and aesthetically pleasing gathering system. The sound design was fantastic, the gathering itself was visceral and well designed. Its only flaw was, well, basically everything else with the game. I'm very confident since New World set new standards for gathering.
Ouch, man. Ouch. But he's right. He's absolutely right.
Expectations in an MMO, Intrepid were feverishly looking to reverse engineer it for Ashes of Creation. Steven even decided to tease us a little on what to expect, saying he doesn't think he's ever seen a tree fall like this in any MMO. It's so satisfying. As PR as this sounds, they have yet to let us down when it comes to their updates and completely blowing all competition out of the water. Oh, what's that? You didn't like the tab target hybrid combat they showed last month? Oh, well, get fucked, I guess, because I loved it. It's okay that Ashes of Creation isn't for you guys.
Well, there's a couple different ways that you can do combat too. Like, it doesn't have to be that specific tab targeted way. So it appeals to multiple people. Chill. Slow your roll, haters out there.
I heard New World is creeping up on, what is it, 8% of its original player base now, so that's good, I guess. This comment from Steven hypes me up more than the gathering itself, but I think it does indicate that there are some traditional elements to their gathering. Something along the lines of New World, but without the sparklies telling players where things are like we're infants incapable of using our eyes. God forbid we're expected to recognize colors and shapes in this modern age of, gaming.
You know, I like the animation already on the woodcutting. And that was like Alpha 1, he said. Like, yeah, looks pretty promising. Gathering already from what they've shown.
To me, it boils down to two things. Is the game going to have the occasional tree, herb, or ore to mine like a traditional MMO, giving us the occasional hit of dopamine when we come across one in the world and fueling the economy in a way that makes gathering scarce? Or is it going to be like New World where almost everything was gatherable, and although that felt good, New World's economy suffered a lot as having such easy access to resources most certainly isn't a good long-term mechanic for any MMORPG. Now, as fun as the
if I think back to the RuneScape days, like, struggling to mine iron ore against all the bots and all the other guys trying to mine it, like south of, oh shoot, I'm gonna forget what it's called now. Not Fayrock or whatever, the other one, that other main city that people hang out in. I can't remember, but dang. It was so frustrating. There was like this really nice patch of a bunch of iron ore. And trying to mine that crap, was it also coal? Was it coal, iron? Anyway, it was so hard. But it was so satisfying when you would get like a full stack. Go back to your bank, drop that in, like, yeah, I'm making progress. That kind of feeling, I get what he's saying, is like, if it's too easy to get these resources, it just kind of ruins the economy because there's no struggle, so there's no cost to it. So, yeah.
traditional gathering is, it's the more in-depth gathering mechanics that interest me the most. Recently, Steven did actually tease the kind of unique mechanics Ashes of Creation may have.
Additionally is a concept called surveying, which is a component of gathering that makes things a little bit different than what players have been accustomed to in most MMOs in the past. And just to give you a little bit of idea behind kind of those gameplay layers that we're thinking about, you know, we've talked about ideas like land management, and as you draw resources from your surrounding area, what type of effect does that have on the land? And
what? That's pretty in-depth. Like, too much gathering depletes the land, and it actually affects how the land, like, is going forward or behaves? That is really in-depth. Oh my goodness.
And then also, how effectively can you draw those resources without having such a deleterious effect on the land, right? Which might impact future resource gathering for some period of time. And
That's
it makes
insane.
relevant the movement of these players who are collecting these goods from the environment, that they actually cannot always just do so in one particular area as the land management begins to degrade.
Now, this sounds very...
That's intense. So it actually forces you to, like, cycle through, like, okay, I guess I'll have to go to this location now because this one's, like, depleted for the next hour, you know. Wow.
Very interesting indeed. A mechanic to survey the land, to find resources. It brings players to possibly work together, or even better, create conflict to fuel the scarcity of resources further. Even as far back as 2 years ago, they did talk about a mechanic that I think fits this surveying mechanic very, very well, and actually ties us into another game entirely.
And these are all kind of like one-off gatherables that you're kind of seeing here, but there are large vein resources essentially, which you know, have multiple applications of the gathering process. So, like, you may have a large mine of iron, you know, ore, and it can attract
Minecraft
time to come and deplete it first.
This reminds me a lot of Star Wars Galaxy's surveying mechanic, where resources in the world are not,
of course,
physical entities per se, but more like an idea. Technology has advanced a lot since then, and allowing a mechanic like this to exist physically, I think, is most certainly possible, and what I hope Intrepid are aiming to achieve for their gathering systems. Overall, this sounds like an absolutely fantastic mechanic, and I'm really excited to see how the gathering turns out during this month's showcase. I mean, how can we lose at this point, guys? We're competing against an MMO from the 1980s and an MMO that can't even fix one bug without introducing 5 new ones.
I mean, when you put it like that, it's looking pretty promising.
However, there is a bunch of other interesting things that they could reveal to us as well. A new race being playable in-game, the Valoons, Nikua, Dunir, and Renkai are still waiting to be revealed in-game, so if we'll get to see one of those is anyone's guess. Additionally, because of the mention of farming, there is a, albeit small, but still very...
This is a clean-looking vendor interface too, by the way. I like it. It looks nice.
Possible chance we'll get a glimpse at some freeholds, but we're starting to huff the copium now, so I will end today's video with a question for you, my dear viewer.
Let's hear the question.
Do you think Intrepid can top the standards New World set for gathering in an open world MMORPG, and which type of gathering do you prefer?
I think they can. It looks promising, and I think they can actually top New World's gathering, especially if it doesn't ruin the economy like New World's.
Is being rare but exciting to find, or everything in the world being available to gather. I gave you my thoughts using my 20 years of economic experience, and I stand by what I said. I think rarer resources make for a much better long-term game and far better dopamine hits when exploring the world. There's just something really special about finding that ultra-rare resource and rushing towards it, rather than everything just being gatherable and soulless. like it was in New World. But as usual, I am just one nerd desperate for a good MMO, and my opinions mean nothing without me shitting on New World. And hey, as usual, by the time this video goes live, the invite for the watch party will be up and waiting for you, Copium Addicts, to suck in that good.
Well, that was pretty good. I always enjoy a good Narc video. Man, he had a good sponsorship there too. That was actually entertaining. I've never seen a sponsorship bit that entertaining. Well, if you guys want to check out more of this guy's videos, you can always head on over to his channel and subscribe. He's really funny, makes really entertaining videos. That was Narc.